Welcome to Insights with Dr. Val-Addo. We are happy to meet with you once again on this platform. My name is Dr. Val-Addo, a theologian public. Lately, I have been focusing on the past 500 years of African history on slavery. And in this series of presentations beginning from today, we're going to focus on the 400 years of history of Africans in the US out of the over 500 plus years. We're going to focus on the 400 years of the history of Africans in the US. And so it's going to be an abridged outline of history or what has gone on in America for 400 years regarding Africans. And 400 years of history of a people in a country has so much details, and we will never finish it. So I'm going to try to abridge 400 years of stories about Africans in America, and we're going to make it in pieces so that we will appreciate what actually went on, and it's not going to be detailed. And as a way of introduction, indigenous Africans south of the Sahara, that is the dark Africans, specifically from western coasts, who were enslaved by Europeans, were taken to Europe, the Caribbean, and North America. Their histories are therefore linked. And so talking about the history of Africans in America is just a piecemeal of the larger history. So today's presentation is going to be the introduction to the history of Africans in the US. And as we said, we're going to be very brief in this presentation. Now, we would like to start first by digressing a little bit and talk about the English settlement in the US because of their link or its link with the African history in America. Now, the English settlement in the US began in 1607 when the first English people settled in Jamestown in Virginia, US. They were all males and they were tobacco farmers. Their coming to America had nothing to do, and they didn't identify with any religion. They didn't identify with Christianity and any church denomination. It was purely secular economic enterprise that they were engaged in. Now, 12 years later, they settled. The first Africans, 20 of them, who were enslaved by Spain and later by the English navigators, were sent and sold as slaves to the first English settlers in Jamestown, Virginia. The English slave traders were also not identified with Christianity and any church denomination. Now, the same 1619 was the beginning of slavery of Africans in North America. Now, Africans taken to the US might have likely come from the Grain Coast, Ivory Coast, and the Slave Coast. The Grain Coast Negroes were from Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Guinea-Bissau, and Sierra Leone. Ivory Coast Negroes were from La Côte d'Ivoire, and Slave Coast Negroes were from Togo, Dahomey, Nigeria, Cameroon, and Equatorial Guinea. And Gold Coast Negroes might have come from, or they were from, the Gold Coast. Now, it was also possible others might have come from the Central African coast and the Southeastern African coast. Central African Coast Negroes were from Gabon, Congo, and Angola, and Southeastern African Coast Negroes were from Mozambique. We have already indicated in some previous presentations that Africans did not sell Africans into the slavery of Europeans to be sent to Europe, the Caribbean, and North America. And we do not have to repeat that here. Africans in Africa and those taken to Europe and the Caribbean know this to be true from their histories, except some few Africans in America, especially African Americans who regard themselves as the original Hebrew Israelites, believe otherwise, though without historical authenticity. Now, we have also proved in a previous presentation that their claim was based on historical assumptions and fallacies of logic. We have also proven in another previous presentation that slavery was not indigenous or practiced in Africa before the arrival of Europeans there. What is worrying is the beginning of slavery in North America in 1619 was also the beginning of representative democracy in North America. Democracy and slavery are incompatible, but were made bedfellows in the beginning of American history and at other times, but were reversed as years progressed. We note that slavery was forced to engage and marry democracy, and those suppressed had to learn to live with democracy against its will. Now, we know that democracy should not promote slavery, but at the beginning of American history, slavery was made to engage and to marry democracy. And that is ironic, very, very ironic that this happened. And the history of Africans in the United States of America is based on these bedfellows, which are very strange bedfellows, slavery and democracy, which were made to engage and to marry, with democracy being the lord over slavery, yet practicing slavery. Now, as we said, we're going to be very brief in this presentation and use it as the introduction and the basis for all the rest of the arguments or the history that we're going to study. And please, if you receive this presentation on the WhatsApp, please do us a favor, click the link to the video below it in blue. It will take you to the actual presentation in the YouTube. While you are there, please press the subscribe button and the notification bell. Give us a thumb up and click the share symbol to send to others, and leave a comment below it for us. God bless you.